Zarkoth had claimed over 10,000 kills across 47 star systems. His trophy haul stretched 3 kilometers beneath the volcanic plains of his homeworld, each specimen representing a species he had bested in single combat. The crystalline hive lords of Proxima, the phase-shifting wraiths of the Void Nebula, the titanic leviathans that swam through gas giants, all had fallen before his prowess. When the Galactic Hunting Guild announced humanity's recent expansion into colonized space, Zarkoth felt that familiar thrill ignite in his 4-chambered heart. A new species. A new challenge. The dossier was unremarkable. Bipedal mammals, average strength, mediocre speed, no natural weapons or armor. They had only achieved faster-than-light travel 3 generations ago. Easy prey. He selected Earth's colony on Kepler 442b for his hunt. The settlement was small, barely 5,000 humans scattered across rudimentary habitation domes. Zarkoth initiated his standard protocol. He would observe for 1 planetary rotation, identify the alpha specimens, then begin his hunt at dawn. The first human he observed was a female named Sarah Chen, a xenobotanist cataloging native flora. Through his scope, Zarkoth watched her work methodically, taking samples, recording data, speaking into a communication device with what his translator identified as enthusiasm. Unremarkable. When a native predator, something resembling a 6-legged bear with crystalline fangs, emerged from the tree line, Zarkoth expected her to flee or call for help. Instead, Sarah stood her ground. She slowly reached into her pack and pulled out what appeared to be food, tossing it sideways. The predator followed the movement. She backed away gradually, maintaining eye contact, speaking in low, steady tones. The predator eventually lost interest and wandered away. Zarkoth marked this as unusual but not impressive. Prey animals often had flight responses. The second human was a male named Marcus Washington, a structural engineer repairing a damaged habitat dome. A solar storm warning blared across the colony's communications network. Marcus had 14 minutes to reach shelter before lethal radiation levels hit, but Zarkoth observed him change trajectory, sprinting instead toward the agricultural dome where 3 other humans were working. Apparently unaware of the danger, Marcus reached them with 6 minutes remaining. Rather than save himself, he spent 4 precious minutes ensuring they evacuated. He reached shelter with 37 seconds to spare, his skin already reddening from radiation exposure. He would survive, but he had risked certain death for others. Zarkoth found this perplexing. Pack loyalty existed among prey species, but this seemed excessive. The third observation changed everything. A mining accident trapped 7 humans in a collapsed tunnel system, 3 kilometers beneath the surface. The colony's rescue team determined that conventional drilling would take 48 hours, far longer than the trapped miners' oxygen would last. The mission was declared a recovery operation rather than a rescue. The humans disagreed. Zarkoth watched in fascination as every able-bodied human in the colony mobilized. A young engineer named Priya Kapoor proposed a desperate plan. Use controlled explosive charges to create a new shaft, a technique that had a 30% success rate and would likely kill the miners instantly if miscalculated. The trapped miners voted unanimously to try. For 31 hours, Zarkoth observed humanity work. They didn't sleep. They barely ate. Engineers ran calculations until they collapsed. Then others took their places. A doctor named James stood ready with medical equipment, though he privately admitted the odds were against needing it. Children brought food and water to the workers. Elderly humans offered encouragement and advice. They argued constantly. Humans, Zarkoth learned, argued about everything. They questioned each calculation, every decision, every assumption. It seemed chaotic, inefficient. Yet somehow within that chaos, they refined Priya's plan 17 times, each iteration marginally better than the last. When they finally detonated the charges, Zarkoth had his weapons ready. Whether the miners survived or not, he would have his specimens. The explosion echoed across the colony. Dust erupted from the new shaft. For 11 minutes, there was only silence and falling debris. Then a hand emerged from the dust. One by one, all 7 miners crawled out alive, coughing, bleeding, but alive. The colony erupted in celebration. Humans embraced, cried, laughed. James the doctor rushed forward, and Zarkoth noted that the old human was weeping even as he worked. Zarkoth lowered his weapon. He had hunted across the galaxy for 6 centuries. He had studied countless species' behavior, learned their patterns, exploited their weaknesses. He understood predator and prey, survival and extinction, strength and weakness, but he had never encountered anything like this. These humans were weak individually. Their bodies were fragile, their senses dull, their natural lifespans barely a flicker, yet they were capable of something Zarkoth in all his conquests had never truly witnessed. They were willing to die for each other, not just out of pack instinct or genetic programming, but out of choice. They hoped when hope was irrational. They tried when trying was mathematically futile. They were terrifying, not because of their strength, but because of their refusal to accept defeat. Every human he observed carried this quality like a genetic imperative. They fell and stood up. They failed and tried again. They died saving others and considered it honorable rather than wasteful. Zarkoth realized with cold certainty what would happen if he killed a human on this colony. They wouldn't just mourn. They would hunt him back, all 5,000 of them. They would argue about how to do it, disagree on tactics, probably make spectacular mistakes, but they wouldn't stop. Not when it was difficult. Not when it was dangerous. Not ever. They would persist. That night, Zarkoth erased humanity from his target list. He filed his report with the hunting guild. Species exhibits psychological instability incompatible with standard hunt protocols, demonstrates irrational persistence behavior, and collective action patterns that violate standard prey parameters. Classification: avoid. 3 other master hunters ignored his warning. Their trophies were never recovered. Their clans received only a message from the human diplomatic corps. "We're sorry for your loss. We tried to warn them." Zarkoth now tells young hunters about the species that conquered their own weakness through sheer stubborn refusal to quit, the species that turned fragility into strength and cooperation into a weapon more dangerous than any claw or fang. He tells them, never hunt humans. Not because you cannot kill them, you can, but because they will make you regret that you did. They will make sure of it, no matter the cost. And that, young hunters, is the most dangerous prey of all, the kind that doesn't know when to stop fighting back.